guys, welcome for more what's this game? Our life beginnings and always. So I just want to say that someone on the comment section pointed out that my voice is, sounds kind of boring, and I know that. I completely know that, and thank you for pointing that out. But you have to understand that I'm recording in just in just my room. It's not soundproof. It's not a studio. My room is not soundproof, and the walls are really thin. It's really thin that you can hear my little brother's cry from my parents' room, and it's I'm recording. I'm recording every night when they're asleep because it's the only time that this house is, you know, quiet. So basically, everyone is sleeping, and I'm the only one who's awake, so I can't really make a ruckus, you know. I'm basically whispering right now so that I can't disturb anyone. So I hope you understand that. Thank you, and I'm really sorry if I'm sounding so boring. I will really try hard to be more, upbeat. Okay, so what happened last time? Last time we hang out with Shiloh. I was starting to like him, but then he acted like a brat during the afternoon, so I hated him. I hated him again. And what else happened? Um, Ko was crying again because he met two self in you know self entitled elders who don't know how to respect others and still expect for others to respect them. That's not how respect goes. If you want respect, if you want to be respected, respect someone else first, okay? So let's go to the next moment, Sandcastle. Perhaps we're gonna use the new sand pail that Cove bought. I'm not really feeling well for today. I think I'm going to have colds. Cove wasn't able to do many things that summer. When him, and Shiloh sat out on the shoreline one bright morning, you could tell he wanted to be in the water. But there was no way he'd be swimming anytime soon. Not with his cast. Yeah, what's the deal with his cast? What happened? The waves washed a single shell to shore, glittering and blue, another reminder of the places he couldn't go. From what you heard about Cove's old life so far, in tiny pieces and fragments, you could tell that he'd do anything to be able to get the cast off. Even cut it off himself if he could. No, don't do that, Cove. You thought about how his summer last year must have been totally different from this, with his old home and his mom and dad. But now he was here, with you and Shiloh and Lisa and everyone else, and he couldn't even go in the sea. This town wasn't bad. It had all your favorite things in it, but sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand. What? But sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you. What? But sitting there on the same beach you'd grown up on, you could understand that not everybody else felt the same way about Sunset Bird as you did. You watched him from the corner of your eye, quietly, and he finally said aloud what you had been pondering. I wish I could go in. The water? Obviously, Shiloh. Oh, you're so stupid. I hate you. I really hate you. Where else could he, go in? The sand? Yeah, you're stupid. I'm sorry. You're gonna be able to do it soon. Cove only sighed in response. A apparently soon wasn't soon enough. It's so pretty. The ocean. Oh, Sheila, you're not helping. Hmm. And what? That's supposed. Wrong voice, wrong voice. Hmm. And huge. There could be anything out there. Like mermaids. Okay, mermaids. Well, they're just kids, so they can imagine things. I wish I didn't have a cast. I wish too. I don't really care. Swimming might be fun if it could. I'm fine here on land. Mermaids aren't real. I want to say this, but I don't want to be a brat like Shiloh. I wish I didn't have. Is this a good choice? I don't know, like I said, it must be fun if it could. I'm fine here on land. The first. I really want to choose this, but there's something about this that made me think otherwise. I wish I didn't have a cast. It's like we're wishing to, it's like we're implying that we wanted to swim, and Go is the reason why we can't because he has the cast. Okay, so let's just I'm fine here on land instead. Alright. Obviously not interested in hearing much more of your input on the situation. Go turn back to the water. He's not interested, huh? But as he looked away, something about Shiloh's slow, careful movements caught his eye. Hey, are you building a sand castle? Sorry, dog. I was only playing around while you were talking. I'm listening. Maybe I could too. I've only made big piles before. It's really nothing special. I'm sure you'll be good at it right away. Well, how do you do it then? Shiloh's cheeks lit up. You could tell he was a little bit uncomfortable to have Gove's expectant stare on him. Gove, talk to us, not to Shiloh. I'll play too. I love making sand stuff, and burrow Shiloh in it. I've never really made one before. There's nothing else to do. I love making sand stuff.
Okay.
Wow, Shiloh. He put his hands back to his seashells and sand and nodded. I don't do a lot. Here's how I like to get a house started. Shiloh, focusing more intently than you'd ever seen him, guided Cove through his process. You happily used your own method. It didn't take long for the three of you to each have humble structures prepared. That's all kind of. You can do anything now, like made it bigger, add some seashells, carve a pretty pattern. I bet you'll have great ideas.
Okay.
I'm gonna make it bigger. Mine is gonna be a real castle.
Cool.
This is gonna be a house. Looking at those, looking at the base of your sand castle, you decided to make a mansion, a castle as well. Like what do you call this? Cove. Looking at the base of your sand castle, you decided to build a fancy castle. The better part of the next hour was spent focusing on your own work. The boys were the same. Even Shiloh didn't sneak as many peeks at everyone else as he usually did. Wow, who's that? You finished shaping before either of them did, glancing up from what you'd built. So that's our sand castle. Not bad. It seems you got done so fast because they already searched around for extra decorations. Shiloh had grabbed most of the really interesting stuff, and Cove had a lot of the shells, but there were still options. The first thing we reached for was a red bottle cap. Where the hell would we put that? Green piece of sea glass. What's a sea glass? Blue seashell. It was the best fit for your castle, you decided. blue color of it still reminded you of the clear water, so you displayed it front and center, making it a headlining feature of your whole thing. Pleased with your result, you finally took a proper look around that wasn't focused on the sand itself. Both Cove and Shiloh seemed super immersed still. You knew you could probably sneak a peek at either's one's work. Check out Cove's Castle. Who cares about Shiloh's sand house? I don't care. I might have, destroy it. The castle Cove had built looked surprisingly tidy, especially for someone in a cast. He must have worked really hard. He wasn't even finished digging the huge, gaping moat in front, but it was already enormous. You get the sense from the enthusiasm he was digging with that the doctor was probably going to find a bunch of sand when he finally removed the pink plaster. The silence was then broken. Lizzie? No, it's not. What's on the top of your Shiloh? You picked closer and discovered something shiny sticking out of Shiloh's sand chimney. Oh, it's just a gum wrapper. It looks like smoke.
Neat.
It's good. That's smart. Go, compliment my sandcastle as well. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I guess I don't see it. You should be an architect. Kinda looks more like a worm. I guess I don't see it. It's not a smoke. That's only a trash. It kinda looks more like a worm. Oh my god. Let's try to compliment him. I don't want to be a brat. You'd be good at it, Shiloh. Shiloh smiled with that word. And that was that for the current topic. Vincent, can I see what you did? Of course, go. It is our castle after all. Sure. She scooted just a bit nearer and began surveying your work. The castle you built was pretty impressive, all things considered. It had archways, tall walls, and even a little moat circling it. You'd probably feel safe living there. Maybe your moms were the queens. Shiloh quickly decided to jump in the new conversation. Hey Vincent, what did you do? It's a castle. Shiloh didn't look so happy anymore. Why? Why, Shiloh? Why? You both built castles? Wow, what's the matter?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's the matter, Shiloh?
Aw.
That's neat. How you guys match. It's too bad we didn't all do it. Next time we should. Well, don't. Wouldn't that be boring? Yeah, and we don't want you in our, in our castle anyway, so you could just build your own world. Something is the only one of that thing that makes it special. Okay. Yeah, for sandcastles and stuff. People too. My dad always says how everybody is their own man, a real individual. I don't think I'm very special.
Why?
Why not? Nobody else is you. Shiloh simply shook his head. I'm not different. A beat passed between the two. Cove then looked down at his own work again. Okay. He didn't seem to be bothered leaving the disagreement hanging there. Cove had other things on his mind, then, poking his nose to Shill's business. My dad tried to get me to make sandcastles the first time we came to this beach. I didn't want to. Cove trailed off. Again, there was another moment of silence. Shiloh shifted and opened his mouth to say something, but Cove spoke up before he could. You didn't think he noticed that Shiloh was going to talk. Hey, do you know what happened when your moms met my dad, Vincent? You cocked your head, thinking about it briefly. Yeah, what happened? I wasn't there. They didn't tell me. I just remember what happened when I met your dad. He was sulking at the front of our house with you missing instead of finding you. Mr. Holden had been a weird stranger then. Well, he was still kind of strange. No other parent acted like him. so carefree, but you knew him better at this point. Now that you thought about it, it made a lot of sense that Cove's dad talked to him about people being unique. You were pulled from your thoughts when Cove continued.
Oh.
Well, I was there. I don't think my mom has met your dad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she hasn't. Vincent's parents and my dad met the same day I met him. I'm gonna say what happened. Sheila frowned to himself, ducking his head. His hat cast a shadow over his face. You could still tell he was upset at not being included in Cove's choice of topic. Good to know that he's not included in Cove's choice of topic because I don't want him to be. That was kind of boring for him, though giving people their own turn to say the things they want is important too. Just stayed silent and let Cove finish the story. I think Sheila wants to talk. No, he doesn't want to talk. Sheila could talk about stuff after Cove had a chance to share what he planned on, or Sheila could just, shut up. When we moved here, we didn't bring a lot of things with us, only some stuff that would fit in Dad's car. We didn't even get a moving truck. I sat in there while Dad brought it all inside. I didn't want to get out because I knew Dad would make me look around the new house. I really didn't want to do that. His lips twisted into a frown as he recalled that. Then I saw your moms. They were in a car too and stopped at your house. I guess they were coming back from somewhere or something. My dad noticed. He waved his hand, then went over to the front of your house where he started talking to them. I don't know what they said. I couldn't hear it. But he couldn't see me anymore since he was looking the other way. So I opened the car door and left. I wanted to get away and went behind the houses. I found those hills there, the ones where we met for the first time. Cove nodded, then stared at you. You stared back, and then our face. Stop. He didn't go on to say anything more. What? That's all that you wanted to say? Cove's brow wrinkled, like he didn't understand why you were surprised.
Huh?
That's all that happened. Nothing special happened. Okay, what did you want to tell the story if nothing happened? Why did you want to tell the story if nothing happened? You really gotta get better at telling stories. That was a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. That was a pretty bad. It is a pretty bad story. Thanks for telling me. Okay. What is it? What? You said that in a weird way. Oh my god, wrong voice acting. You're crazy. Cove narrowed his eyes at you, suspicious. Sheila's mouth twisted into a scowl of disbelief, but he said nothing. Why did you bring that up anyway? There was a slight shrug of Cove's shoulders.
Wow.
I was thinking about it because of the sand castle. It made me remember when I moved here. Dad showed me the beach first, before we went back to the car to unpack. He was really excited about it for some reason. Cove's brows furrowed a little more as he quietly raked his hand through the sand. I get it. He thought maybe Mr. Holden wasn't that excited about the beach, and was instead hoping Cove might be. But the line of conversation had come to its end. Even Cove was done with it. Some other topic had popped into his head. Sheila fidgeting uncomfortably in the stand had made Cove aware of his presence again. They looked at each other, and you could only wonder what this might be about. Hey Sheila, you want to say something? Yeah? Why are you always turning so red, even when nothing is happening? Thanks for pointing that out, Cove. I really wonder too. Clearly startled, he jerked back and jumped to the sea and disappeared to oblivion. Neither you or Sheila had expected that to be how he got included in the conversation again. I know, I guess. You're turning red again. Okay, it's kinda weird. Vincent, let's go and leave this brat behind. Sheila's eyes were wide with embarrassment, and his lips twitched, and he was blushing even harder than before. Maybe it wasn't all of this. Perhaps it was simply the last straw. But it was a big deal to Sheila, a huge deal. He didn't just look sad, he seemed almost panicked. You weren't sure if he was about to cry or run away or what, but you soon get an answer. Why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses. Um, why do you wear glasses? Most kids don't wear glasses, and nobody's named Cove. Oh god, are they going to fight? Are they going to freaking fight? Shiloh? 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 Shiloh, I want to throw you out to the sea and let the sharks eat you. Who asked you to come? It was probably just your dad bugging Vincent's family some more because you don't have anyone else who'll ever play with you. Shiloh? Shiloh? Stop it, Shiloh. Go blinked. And I blinked too. The tension on the beach was suddenly uncomfortable in a way you didn't know how to move past. It didn't seem like the kind of thing he'd get upset about, though you hadn't ever known what kind of thing would bother Shiloh. I'm sorry. Me too. I was just wondering. Shiloh, that's too much. Hey, let's build another sandcastle and burrow Shiloh to it. You tried to play on your own. Are we gonna build more? You nervously mess with the sand. Let's break the tense atmosphere. The day's gonna be over soon. Vincent, you're right. The sun is going down so fast. You all went back to making more sand buildings, but the whole mood had changed. Shiloh's cheeriness was clearly gone, and Cove looked as confused as ever about why the other boy had blown up. The air stayed uncomfortable the rest of the afternoon, right up to the moment that Shiloh's mom appeared at the beach to take him home. At least he tried to do something to resolve it, though it seemed like it helped. Even though Shiloh's smile when he said goodbye to Cove wavered, it stayed as bright as ever for you. That had to count for something. But with Shiloh gone and the sun going down, you knew it was time for you and Cove to head to your own houses. So you led the way on the path back home. The walk home was quiet. You passed by familiar landmarks, shoes thumping against the sidewalk in a perfect unison. Cove was clearly caught up and thinking about something. Let's ask him. You didn't want to leave it hanging in the air, so you decided to just ask. Why are you making that face?
Oh.
I was just wondering. Cove fell silent again for a few more seconds, then sighed. Why'd Shiloh act like that when I said he was already a lot? You're being rude to him. No, not really. He's just being a baby. He is. You shouldn't make fun of him. You should. I don't know. It's just Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. You sure could go with no answer to give. Damn, this is hard. What should we choose? He gets embarrassed. I don't know. It's just Shiloh. You shouldn't make fun of him. It's just being a baby. You're a baby. I don't know. It's just Shiloh. He gets embarrassed. Maybe he gets embarrassed. Embarrassed? But I didn't say anything that bad. Exactly. It might have upset him anyway. I guess I can get it. Why he would do that. Sometimes I get really mad too. Despite seemingly coming to a conclusion, Cove's mood was still sour. Hey Vincent, was Shiloh telling the truth? Huh? His gaze left yours as he dug the sole of his shoe onto the ground. He looked oddly vulnerable for a second. Does my dad make you hang out with me? I know he talks to your moms about that a lot. Well, your dad asked me first, He actually offered me some money to hang out with you, but I didn't accept it, Go. I did not accept it. I played with you with my heart wholeheartedly, not expecting any money in return. An uncomfortable weight settled in your chest at the question. You liked spending time with Gova. You didn't even have to think hard about it. You know you did. But you couldn't help feeling guilty. Gove still didn't know what happened when you met Mr. Holden. Aww. Nobody's making me spend time with you. Your dad does do stuff so you'll hang out with my family. But Sheila shouldn't have said that. Huh. Huh. Hmm. You know what? Let's be honest. I'm really scared. But let's be honest. Well, remember how you talked about how our parents met and I didn't know what happened? Yeah. I kind of had something happen that you don't know about when I met your dad. As you struggled to find the right words, Cove looked at you passively. You met his gaze even as your stomach twisted itself into knots. I was walking home and your dad was sitting in front of the house. It must have been after you ran away. My mom's weren't there either. I think they were looking for you. Your dad saw me. He got up and came over. Mr. Holden told me that he just moved into the house next to mine. Go was still listening, his expression as plain as before. You paused for a moment, wondering if you should really keep going. Ah. Huh. What to do? What to do? What to do? Let's tell the Let's tell him. I don't want to lie to Go. Even it was supposed to be a secret, you thought Go should still know. Your dad said he'd give me $20 if I became friends with you. Go was so still, you thought he hadn't heard you. Then his eyes widened, his mouth fell open, but no sound left him. Silence stretched between you, so tense that it was almost tangible. You shifted from one foot to another, and your hand stands up. Hey, say something. Instead of speaking, he closed his mouth, his eyebrows bent up, crinkling his forehead. He looked more sad than surprised now. He was going to cry. You were certain of it. Come on, Vincent, assure him. Assure him. Tell him that we didn't accept the money. I didn't take it. The money. I didn't want it. Honest. Gove raised his hands and brought them up under his glasses. His fingers pressed over his eyes, hiding them from your sight. Then right in the middle of the street, the tears began to fall. His shoulders shook with the force of his sobs. You could glimpse wetness through the cracks of his fingers, slipping down his cheeks. Hey, you shouldn't cry because of that. Oh, you stepped closer, you placed your hand on his head, you touched his shoulder, stayed by him. Huh. Huh. What should we choose? And I'm really scared. I don't want Go to hit us. Let's save it just to make sure. What's the return? Here. Unsure, you slowly place your hand on top of his head. Your mommy did that for you sometimes. But Go shook his body from side to side, rejecting your presence.
No.
Go away. You flinched at the shout. As she stood there, listening to him cry, you felt uncomfortable over the scene he was making, concern for him, regret for telling you about the money, bad about everything. Huh. Did I choose the wrong option? Hmm. Regret for telling him about the money, bad about everything, concern for him. Hmm. Bad about everything. You wish you were still making sandcastles on the beach, before Cove was sad, before Sheila was mad. Everything had been so much better then. Cove continued to weep with his face covered by his hands. Worse, his voice raised in volume. You were frozen in place. The situation was awful, and you kept feeling worse every second. You hugged him. You stepped up and tried. I didn't know to read the other options. Oh my god. Because I'm so scared. I don't want Cove to hit us. You stepped up and tried to wrap your arms around him in a hug. Cove screamed away from you again, though, ducking his head. Go, Cove, no, please. It was a full rejection. You heard the door opening and you flinched, expecting to see one of the mean old grandparents preparing themselves to yell at you. At this hour, most people weren't around, either because they were working or down in the town, but the grandparents rarely left the house except to complain at children making noise in the street. Oh no, it's the self-entitled elders. You didn't want Go to have to deal with that right now. You tried to come up with something you could do for him, for the situation, for anything. But the door that stood open now didn't belong to the grandparents. To your utter surprise and relief, it was Cove's own. His dad was already home. Oh no. As he picked at his door, Mr. Holden momentarily looked unsure. Perhaps he had suspicions on the noise outside, but wasn't entirely positive, though a kid crying is pretty distinct and there aren't a lot of kids. Maybe he didn't want to believe something might be wrong with his son. His face fell as he spotted the source of the commotion. It was pained and it was scared, and it reminded you of the one he'd worn the first night you'd met Cove. Mr. Holden didn't go down the steps in front of his house. He just jumped right over them and stumbled into a run. He skidded to a stop before Cove, bent down on one knee, and then solidly cupped Cove's teary face with his hands.
What's wrong?
Are you hurt anywhere? Cove continued to cry, unable or unwilling to cough out an explanation. Not taking his hands from Cove, Mr. Holden turned to you for explanation, his eyes wide and imploring. Cove asked if you'd made me hang out with him. I just told him the truth. You tried to give me money. As he spoke, Mr. Holden's chest rose while he inhaled a deep, shaky breath, culminating in a gasp at your final words. Me too.
What?
Why? Why would you? He clamped his mouth shut, shaking his head. He faced his crying son again. No, it's my fault. I shouldn't have done something like that in the first place. He cast his eyes down, sighing. When he next spoke, it wasn't part of a conversation anymore. It was barely loud enough for you to catch his words. Vincent's only a kid. Vincent's only a kid. Tears were still streaming down Cove's face. Smiling sadly, Mr. Holden wiped Cove's cheeks with a thumb. He furrowed his brows and looked at the ground. When he next glanced up, his mouth was set with determination. Mr. Holden finally took his hands off Cove. He reached for his wallet, confused, stared at the little rectangled old adult seemed to carry in some shape or form. It had been the source of all his problems. You were sure that Cove wouldn't want to be reminded of it right now. Mr. Holden was clearly of a different mind to you. He inexplicably retrieved another $20 bill, rolled it up, and raised it to Cove's face. Cove's eyes were hidden behind tightly clamped fingers, so Mr. Holden poked Cove's nose with the bill. Cove picked between his hands and grunted as he saw what he had been prodded with. Even if it was surrounded by sobs, you were glad that something else had finally left Cove's mouth.
Come on.
Hey Cove, can you stop crying? I'll give you this cash if you do. I can't believe it. Cove dropped his hands from his face. It had already been red and wet with tears, but now his features were scrunched up in a scowl. Not for the first time, he questioned Mr. Holden's tactics. He had to use two hands, but Cove firmly shoved his dad's own hand away. But Mr. Holden just chuckled at Cove's reaction and tossed the money aside. It unfurled as it flew through the air, rising before slowly drifting to the floor. Mr. Holden took Cove's outstretched wrists and lowered them to Cove's sides, stopping him from hiding his face once again. Cove's dad clearly wasn't going to let go. Huffing, Cove turned his whole head away, tears continuing to roll down his cheeks as he glowered at the ground. You can buy a lot of cool things with that, but it can't do everything, can it? Cove didn't respond, not even to look at his father. Mr. Holden continued. Your old dad likes to make things nice for you with the money he earns, but you're smart. You know that I haven't really done anything.
I'm sorry.
I still make you sad and upset, just like right now. I'm sorry. Cove sniffed, the harsh line of his brow mellowing. Mr. Holden squeezed Cove's hands as he continued. Vincent is smart too, right? Mr. Holden spoke in a soft, encouraging tone, and Cove continued to calm. You have nothing to worry about, except for me. Mr. Holden chuckled. Cove pressed his lips together, mulling over his father's words. Though the stream of tears had eased, drops still budded in his eyes and threatened to spill out. I love you, son, so much, more than anybody else. Sometimes that makes me a little too hasty to see you happy, and I make it all worse. I really am sorry. Scrunching his eyes tighter, Cove nodded. Come on, there's a lot of narration. Tell me if Cove hates us. With his eyes open again, they were red and glossy, but there were no tears left on the precipice of his lower lashes. Aside from the occasional sniff, he was mostly back to his usual self. He swallowed.
Okay.
But do you hate us though? The Cove had refused to echo Mr. Holden's exact words. The sentiment seemed to be enough for his dad. He moved his hands up under Cove's armpits and hoisted Cove high into the air with a grin. Cove's hands flew to his glasses, holding them back from falling off. Cove's lips were shut tight, all betrayed by the telltale smile in his eyes that he was trying hard to hide. Mr. Holden laughed, lowering Cove so that he was securely pinned against his chest. Cove looked away, face angled to the ground. Now that his dad could no longer see him, he was allowing himself a smile. Mr. Holden might have missed it, but you didn't. Cove wriggled, pushing a hand against his dad's shoulders. Can I go back down now? Come on, Cove, please tell us that you don't hate us.
Yeah.
Mr. Holden set Cove gently on the ground, waiting until his feet found their footing before releasing him entirely. I have to do something. Wait here. As Cove wandered away, Mr. Holden's gaze stuck to him like glue. He sighed, eyes downcast. He felt weird that you'd only been able to stand there while the event unfolded. You weren't able to fix it. How come I couldn't make him feel better? Don't worry about it. Please, we don't need another tragedy today. He winked and you weren't impressed. I am not really impressed. It is all happened because of you. Hey, I mean that. The first part anyway. There's only so much you can do to try fixing someone else's mistake. He smiled sincerely at you, and I didn't smile back. You've done plenty for Cove. Just the fact that you were honest with him, when his own dad wasn't, proves it. Yeah.
That's a relief.
Thanks for being such a good kid. I hope you'll keep spending time with the boy. I will. As though the sound of his name summoned him, Cove returned, clutching the bill his dad had cast aside earlier. You cocked your head, and Cove's dad raised his eyebrows. Cove looked at the crumpled note, then walked over and held it out to you. I stopped crying, but I don't want this. You can have it. He gave you a small smile. Behind him, Mr. Holden was still watching Cove closely, clearly relieved. You shared the feeling. Cove was making peace with the deal that happened behind his back. What? What the hell? Oh my god. Should we take it or not? Damn. I don't want to take it. I don't want to take it, but just to make sure, let's save it. Shaking your head, you push the note back to Cove. I don't need it. But I don't want it. You were at a stalemate. Mr. Holden hummed thoughtfully, tapping his head. He gazed up at the wide sky as he pretended to give the conundrum serious consideration. I know. He plucked the bill from Cove and tore it right into you, and Cove gasped in unison. Dad, we can't do anything with it now. True, it won't work at the store like this, but now you can split it. Crouching down, he held out the pieces to you and Cove. You both looked at the two halves. Neither of you reached for them. It still has value as a keepsake, a memory, and that's one of the most valuable things you can use money on.
So,
That sounds pretty good, huh? Maybe I'm getting smarter. You're not. Wordlessly, Cove stretched out a hand and took his half. You took yours, running a finger along the jagged edge of the bill. But it's kind of sweet, you know. We now have a little memento what happened, you know. Every time we're gonna look at that torn bill, we're gonna remember the scene with Cove. It was cool to think that no other note would share this exact same feature, the precise peaks and troughs of the tear except for Cove's, which would bear them in reverse. Well, it did feel like there was value left in it. Mr. Holden stood up, stretching his arms out casually. Well then, it's about time for dinner. Me and the Rugrat need to be going in. You probably should too. I bet your moms want to see you. Alright,
Bye.
thanks very much.
have a good night, and thanks, Vincent. Father and son waved at you as you turned and dashed back home, the note clenched tightly in your hand. You felt lighter. That was good. That was good. I think Code didn't hate us in the end. That was good. Wow. That was really good. You know, I'm really glad that I was so honest. I'm really glad that I told Cove everything. We didn't lie. Because I don't want to lie anyway. I know kids always lie, but I don't want to. I was really worried. I started to regret my choices, but in the end, maybe it wasn't a bad choice. Well, telling the truth was never a bad choice. So, I'm really excited for the next episode, and thank you for watching this, for being with me on this one, and I will always love you guys. Bye bye.